Hello, welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my own asexual life journey, all there to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. To this channel, I am Sandra Bellamy, author of Asexual Perspectives on Amazon. So today's episode, yes, I'm going to be reviewing Spider-Man No Way Home, which is the latest Spider-Man movie, the new one. Now, if you don't like spoilers, please do not watch this video because I am going to spoil things for you. So please do not watch this if you don't like knowing things about a film before you've seen it, okay? I just want to say that to you because it's so important, because there are surprises in this movie, some of which I will be revealing. So let's crack on. Right, okay, so Spider-Man No Way Home. What can I say about it? If you don't know already, I'm asexual and I personally lack sexual attraction. I don't like films with nudity and sex in them, so this didn't have any sex in it. You do get to see Tom Holland, aka Spider-Man, with just his boxer shorts on for quite a bit of the movie at one point. So the girlies or any guys or any gender that is attracted to Tom Holland will really appreciate that, I'm sure. So yes, this movie, what did I think of it? Okay, so if I'm honest, I prefer the first and second one in terms of flow. I thought the first and second movies were much better in terms of the storyline flowing, particularly the action flowing, and the film I thought was just better made than both the previous two films. This one was very, very slow to start, I felt, and the action I felt was really lacking through the majority of the film. It was a long, drawn-out storyline, which I think needed to happen in the sense that they're giving a lot more information in this movie about why Spider-Man is the way he is. You know, like they're showing you some good stuff, like they're showing you Spider-Man's really, you know, like Tom Holland playing Spider-Man, they're showing him in a really nitty-gritty light, you know, like this is real life stuff that you know is very emotional. I have to say the film is really sad. There's a lot of sad stuff about this movie that I wasn't expecting, and I'm like, crikey, that's really sad stuff going on. So for me personally, I preferred 1 and 2 in terms of flow. The No Way Home, I think there was other people who found it slow to start as well. This movie starts where the second one ended, directly after it. So when Spider-Man is revealed as Peter Parker, that's where the movie starts. And so it's a direct continuation of that event. And, you know, Spider-Man is exactly where he was before, and so is MJ. And so it's literally just when, you know, it's like they filmed it straight afterwards, which I'm sure they probably didn't, but you know what I mean, they probably had a bit of a break, but if they didn't, it was really good. But yeah, so I did find it slow to start. I preferred 1 or 2 in terms of flow. I thought there was lots and lots of storyline and much more than action in this one. I felt it was there's a lot of humor in it, a lot of humor. I think they focused on the humor and the storyline and the love between MJ and Spider-Man a lot more in this movie than the other ones. So for me personally, I was disappointed there wasn't enough action and intense on your seat action. There was some action, but for me it was kind of, most of it is what I've seen before. There's one part in the movie where Doctor Strange and Spider-Man was on top of like this railway track and bridge, and that was really good because Doctor Strange was like moving his hands around and kind of all the buildings were going around, a bit like Inception if you've ever seen that movie. So that was really good special effects. I really liked that part of the movie. So if you didn't already know, a lot of the old characters from previous Spider-Man movies come back in this one. A lot of them. So I was really shocked about how many came back and the original actors played them. And I'm like, wow, that was pretty incredible, you know? So I was in shock. Yeah, I was like really in shock. I'm like, oh my God, there's like loads of them. For me personally, as a really young person, I don't so much like seeing the older characters because I find they are really old now, if you know what I mean. And it's kind of like I've moved on in my life and I'm younger now. So it's kind of like I'm with the young Spider-Man, do you know what I mean? Like these people are really getting on a bit, but that's a bit rude, isn't it? But you know, I felt in terms of like I couldn't relate so much to them because I feel that Spider-Man now, the new modern one, is more my type of vibe, my type of scene. It's more the type of movie I can relate to. But don't forget I am doing spoilers here. But something happened that I did want to happen in the movie, which I wasn't actually expecting. I didn't know this happened because I haven't watched any. I don't even think I've watched any trailers for it, or if I've done, if I did, I think it was in the cinema. I watched the trailers maybe, but not actually. I purposely didn't watch stuff before I went because I didn't want anything spoiled, right? But I was always thinking, what happened to the other Spider-Mans? You know, because it seems weird that all of a sudden there's a new Tom Holland Spider-Man, which I think a lot of girlies and whatever gender that's attracted to Tom Holland would be very attracted to him. I think they find him very charismatic, very attractive. And also on the bonus footage of the discs I've got, you see Tom Holland is very, very much like his character, Spider-Man character. He's done dancing before and he's trained in gymnastics. So he does a lot of his own stunts, which I was quite surprised about. So he can do a lot of like the backflips himself. And he's very agile and stuff. So, you know, and he's grown up idolizing Spider-Man and wanting to become Spider-Man, and he is Spider-Man. So for me, Tom Holland is like the best Spider-Man in that way because it's like part of who he truly is in real life, if you know what I mean. But something I always thought is like, what happened to the other two Spider-Mans? It's such a shame that like it's kind of like, oh, this young model like Spider-Man's come in, and what's happened to the other two? It's like you've just been cut from the movies and that's the end of you, right? But in this movie, don't forget, I'm going to spoil it, there is 3 Spider-Mans later on. They brought the other 2 back. I was so happy about this. I'm like, yes! That was one of the highlights of the movie for me, bringing the other 2 Spider-Men back because I didn't expect it. And I'm like, oh my God, they've got 3 of them together. And that was amazing. It was really, really good. I really loved that so much. I was so glad that the other Spider-Man's got a second chance because I think that it's kind of unfair when someone else starts playing the character and other actors are just kind of cut like that. I find that really, really like disappointing, disheartening for them, even though I love Tom Holland as a character and he's good looking as well. So you know what I mean? But but when they brought the other 2 Spider-Mans back, I thought this is really great because the other 2 guys, they look, not bad looking as well, but they seem nice people who've played those roles, and to never see them again, I thought was really disappointing. I'm glad now that they've put the Spider-Man like in like you've got all of them together and it all makes sense, the story of why you've got 3 together at once in the movie. And so there's a lot of loose ends and loose threads in that way that they do put together in this movie. They do actually sew it up nicely, if you know what I mean. So like I said, it's very much focused on storyline, not so much action. There's a lot of dramatic scenes in this. There's a lot of feeling and emotion between MJ and Spider-Man, and Zendaya, who plays MJ. She's really good at acting the parts of the loving someone. She's very good at acting that you feel that she really does care about and love Spider-Man, and you feel like she's really saying the words true from her heart, and that she's really, really loving him, and she means every word she says. I saw her in The Greatest Showman, and she was fantastic at that with Zac Efron. as a guy that, Zac Efron obviously is the actor, but she was a love interest of him in that, and she was really good in that as well. So I always liked Zendaya. I hope that's how you pronounce her name. And I think she's really good with Tom Holland. I think that they're really good together, and they kind of have a special friendship together. And I like that. I think there's a big friendship element in Spider-Man. That's why I think the movie's so good for asexuals, because we don't love in a sexual way often, and or sex is not a priority, or something we need or want or urge for, or a lot of us don't even want to participate in it. We don't associate love with sex usually, and we need that type of friendship bond. I mean, I've given up on relationships and dating now, to concentrate on my book publishing career, helping asexuals more, and it's been really good for me to do that, but I do still have a romantic side as such to me. And this movie was very, very romantic, but it was very much based on friendship. Ned comes back into it as well. He's really good in it. So Ned and MJ and Spider-Man are all together a lot of the time, and so I really love the friendship that these three people have got together. And I think it's a type of friendship that asexuals would aspire to and admire. And and especially when the love between MJ and Spider-Man is based on a friendship originally. Obviously with the way the camera looks at Tom Holland, aka Spider-Man, there is some sort of sexual interest, as in the fact she's looking at his body and thinking, oh my god, what a gorgeous body, basically. So they've got like that kind of sexual element, although for asexuals we could just really like that aesthetically and think, oh, that's really beautiful body and physique, without actually thinking I want sex with it. And that's a major difference between sexuals and asexuals, so I think that's really important to note that. And it's really important that we just move forward with our life, and we understand that friendship is very much a foundation of a really good, long-lasting, loving relationship. And I think that society is kind of like dropped that a lot. It's kind of like what's gone on in the world, like in order to survive and thrive any relationship, it has to be based on really deep friendship, love, camaraderie, trust, faithfulness, loyalty. And I think that Spider-Man and MJ in this movie really portray all those things. And so that's what I really liked. It's kind of like a true love, like I like that type of love that's kind of like the late teenager love, which to me a lot of the time is more true love than some people later on in their life, because it's like it's based on a lot more friendship and hanging out together and being, like just chilling and relaxing in each other's company, and the trust is there, and it's just so good, and everyone's comfortable around each other like that. Well, they might be a bit awkward because they fancy each other, but in general they're a lot more comfortable around each other. And I think society's lost its way with relationships like that. I mean, so many people are swiping and doing swipe culture, and I do feel a lot of the time for asexuals, because I see so many asexuals feeling so alone because their sexual partner pairs their sexual partner, sorry, because if they're with a sexual partner, their sexual partner wants sex and can't love them for who they are. And if they're not with a sexual partner, they feel alone. Not all of them, but quite a few feel alone, and like they're never going to get a person for them, and to spend the rest of their life with them. And they feel, they do feel that loneliness, and it's a thing. I mean, a lot of people who are asexual, they still desire the romance, the kissing, the cuddling, the affection, without the sex. You know, some aromantics desire affection without kissing as well, without romance, you know? And I think, you know, it's just like so much hookup culture these days, you know, and a lot of sexuals, not all sexuals, but a lot of sexuals don't want to really know a person in terms of a relationship if you're not going to have sex. And it's just horrible feeling for asexuals, you know? And so that's why I do love the storyline with the friendship that these three people have got, these three characters, and particularly the love relationship between NJ and Spider-Man, because it's really born of true friendship and, you know, that really special bond with someone that, like, you'll always be able to connect with them and feel kind of an excitement, electricity between you two, but in a really good, healthy way. Something that's respectful and kind and considerate, you know, and MJ's always standing by Spider-Man, you know, no matter what. It's like, we'll get through it together. And that really came across in the movie. There is something really shocking that happens in the movie that I didn't know as well, so I'm not going to go into that because that would spoil another thing, and I've given you some spoilers already, so I'm not going to go into that at all. I have to say, if you are going to watch the movie, there are 2 bits on the end. Do not miss them. 2 bits on the end, right? With the credits. So when the credits roll at the end and the film has moved on, there's a bit in a bar with a guy and a black blob. That's very significant. And then there's a bit at the end which starts to tell the next tale of Doctor Strange. And there appears to be, gonna spoil it, there appears to be 2 Doctor Strangers in the next movie. A good Doctor Strange and an evil Doctor Strange in the next movie. That is the clip at the end of the credits at the end of this Spider-Man movie. So do not miss those credits, because most people, they just, well, a lot of people, they just leave, don't they? But if you're a Marvel fan, you'll know they always have bits in the credit, but most people then start to leave after the first bit. They're like, oh, there can't be anything else. This is right at the end of the credits, and so we may as well go. But there isn't. There's something like when every single credit is gone, and it's like says this is like Sony move or whatever it says, and everything's happened, all the credits have gone, then it goes to the Doctor Strange movie and says Doctor Strange will be back. I felt it's strange he didn't say Spider-Man's going to be back, you know? I think it's pretty obvious Spider-Man's going to come back, but, you know, obviously the next tale looks like it's going to be Doctor Strange, and it did seem really interesting that seems to have a good versus evil Doctor Strange from the trailer. Well, not from the trailer, from that little bit, which is like a trailer basically, you know? So that's how it looks. You know, so I would say definitely go and watch Spider-Man. I only paid £6 because I went to the Odeon in the UK. View Cinema was much more expensive. Some of the shows were like £9.99, and I was like really shocked. And so, you know, the Odeon tends to be kind of not the latest in technology or reclining seats, but, you know, for me, like I said, overall, I still think the first and second movie was better in terms of action, and I enjoyed them a lot more. Probably because Iron Man as well featured. So, you know, I do love Iron Man. He's my favourite character that they killed off. And I'm praying one day they find him in a multiverse somewhere else and he comes back into a movie. I'd love it if they brought him back and kept him in this time zone. But I don't think they're going to. I'd probably keep him in another universe somewhere, bring him back and then put him back again. I think if they did bring him back. But yes, I still expect he might come back. I'm not convinced he won't, to be honest. I always hold out for a little light of hope with that, because he's my favourite character. And I think Spider-Man and Iron Man go so well together as well. But yeah, so I definitely think the movie's worth watching. I love the bits where MJ flew with Spider-Man through the air, because they look like, you could tell that the way the camera was, the camera's like jerking along with a lot of the time with the way that Spider-Man was moving with MJ. I found those bits very realistic, very raw, very real. You could tell on her face, you felt like she was really out in the wind, like with Spider-Man, and everything was like blowing in her face, and she was really scared thinking put me down. There was some really good camera shots in that. It was very nitty and gritty and raw and real, this movie, and I did like those facts about it, you know. I really did like those facts about it. And, you know, there was quite a few moments where the camera was very jerky, but they'd done that on purpose for realism, to portray the realism of the situation. So yeah, do give it a watch. I'm so happy they've brought the other two Spider-Mans back for this movie. I found that as well as the highlight, really. And, you know, the fact that MJ did say she loved Spider-Man in this movie, but it's sad at the end on multiple levels, so I will not say anything more because I don't want to spoil it for you. And anyway, don't forget to check out the new Spider-Man movie if you haven't already. Hopefully you've watched this review after you've seen the movie. But don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you like this review. I'd love to hear your comments below. Let me know what you think of the new Spider-Man movie. Did you like it more than one or two? Did you prefer the first two? What did you think of the storyline? What did you particularly think of the action? Did you think there was not enough action in it as well, like I thought? So please leave your comments down below. Give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live right now, post a new video. And if you haven't already got a copy of my own superhero book yet, grab yourself a copy of Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook, which is on Amazon and also on Barnes & Noble. And that's me in my Ace Fibro Girl outfit. There we go. See? Real life superhero. So this book is aimed predominantly at fibromyalgia people, but it's a self-help handbook on how to have less pain, more energy, and feel happier. And a lot of the techniques in this book apply to people who haven't got fibromyalgia as well, particularly if you've got anxiety or depression. And it's told in a superhero style. It's really good fun. So you're going to love it. It's autobiographical, so you can read about my life in the superhero way I lead it and have fun with that. So yeah, don't forget to check that out. Type in Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook and go and grab yourself a copy. And I'll see you on the next video live stream. Take care. Lots of love. Bye.